Howdy y'all and welcome to Rauta's Sunday video. It's time to talk about Steelfest 2022. That is the most anticipated underground festival here happening in Finland this year. 4 days, this whole festival, the whole event is celebrating its 10th anniversary. Now, obviously, because of COVID, this festival has basically been delayed for a couple of times. So there has been lineup changes and etc. And I've discussed those before. So now I'm not so much talking about accommodation. That was discussed with the previous video. I'm not discussing the how to get here. That was already discussed. But more about this revealed lineup. Mind you, there are still some bands which are not yet announced. So there will be some surprises. I know at least one which is not mentioned here in the list, but let's keep that as a secret. Let's now focus on the very basics. Not only the lineup, but the basic information what you need to know. So as you can see here on the page, the main page of Steelfest, it's 10th year anniversary. It's 4 days, 50 bands, not 4 bands, 50 days. And that means there's like more than 12 bands each day. I don't know how anybody can really last this, because we all know that this kind of a date, May in Finland, is kind of like opening ceremony for the summer, where roughly. I mean, I don't want to get over romantic about it, but for example, if you could see outside now, it's just snow and even the sea is still frozen. So now that I'm doing this in mid-March, almost 2 months away from the fest, everything is very, very different. It's actually not that cold outside, but it's something that you wouldn't do as an open air festival, which is then again half what Steelfest is all about. The other half, you might be asking, is inside. So this is inside stage and outside stage. So it's called open air festival in those terms. And it's not only these bands. I mean, as if it wasn't enough to see 50 bands. There are also other things which I want to discuss, and I want to discuss them first before we get into the lineup, because then my mind just starts to, wander about and I'm gonna get lost. Anyway, all the necessary information is here available on the Steelfest site. So that is, you get the news, you get the tickets, you get the lineup, etc, etc, etc. You get the posters and whatever. And I'm gonna tune you in for the poster in a little bit. But first, let's take a look at the bonus thing here. One might think that I would be discussing these at the end of the video, but I want to mention them here before I actually forget them. And one of these is actually very interesting. It's called Sunday Bacchanal. And now that you're wondering, yes, 4 days means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That means a very lengthy weekend. So I don't know how your liver is going to last in case you're going to have beer or whatever during those days. But it's gonna be as ended as the ending ceremony, if you will, at Steelfest at early afternoon before the shows start and all that stuff. So there will be this Sunday Bacchanal, which means food made by the chefs. There will be like roasted pork and stuff like that, a Finnish kind of a beer, sahti, and well, lots of stuff to eat. Even vegan options is on the table. And then you can basically just eat as much as you like, and as if I have properly understood, also drink. And it's 29 euros. So it might sound like a lot of money, I mean, if you compare it to fast food, but it's more like a buffet where you can just eat a lot. That means I'm gonna consume a hell of a lot of food, and so it's not that much of a let's do lots of a profit kind of a event, but more like it's gonna be a dine and wine kind of a stuff before the band start. And it's good to have your body filled with food and some drinks, obviously, so that you can actually last the 4th and final day before your hangover takes place the next day. Obviously, I'm assuming a lot of you, like me and my pals, well, I don't know about me, but let's say a lot of people who go to Steelfest are gonna drink a lot. So it means boozing 4 days in a row. It's gonna be hell of a fun, but also your Monday morning might not be the best day of your life, having to pay all the debt for drinking and all. The other interesting event, there is this Steel and Fire Festival, which is also on Sunday. It means blacksmiths from various parts are coming there to just, pound some steel and make the iron smile with a fiery face. So there will be handcrafted items on sale, and you can see the blacksmiths working in their craft. Seen some of these previous years in various places, including Steelfest, and it's interesting, especially if you come from a part of the world where this kind of a craftsmanship is not that much celebrated. So definitely worth taking a look and maybe buy some souvenirs for yourself, for your family, for friends, or a significant other. Who knows what is in store for you. So definitely more than just metal bands and boozing around, which is then again the main course, the main dish if you will. So lots of interesting stuff to happen. And then you have obviously the lineup. And as you can pretty much figure out, as if you know anything about Steelfest to begin with, it's mostly black metal. Not all the way through, but a lot of that. And various parts of the world. For example, here we have United States, ex-Australia, UK. We have, technically speaking, possibly Ukraine. I don't know how the war will affect this. We have Sweden, we have Norway, we have Finland, we have Italy, we have, well, lots of, who knows, who wants to go all through. Bands like, you know, Beelzebub from Mystifier from Brazil. We have Graveland from Poland. We have Alpha Hun from Sweden once again. More Polish bands, Finnish bands. Lots of things, lots of bands. And I don't know, there is so much to see during all these days that I don't know how it is possible to handle. So now that I have the poster here, I will be talking about some of my favorite ones. Not necessarily the most, you know, most expected bands, most anticipated ones, but something that I want to see, and maybe you want to see them as well. Now, there's a lot of bands which I've seen already, some more than a couple of times, so I am a little biased on that sense, which one I'm actually going to see, because obviously bands that I've seen like 3-4 times are not my number one list, even if I enjoy the music, because eventually during these 4 years of a festival, 4 years, weeks, days, whatever, the thing here is you need to eat, you need to take a piss, you maybe need to just sit down and, you know, relax for a bit. Some people even take a nap. I don't know how that is possible on a festival. Maybe they just take too much booze and, you know, get a warm with it. But I need coffee, I need ice cream, I need hamburgers, I need beer, and I need to have time to do interviews and talk to my friends. Never underestimate the importance of friends and social gatherings in events like this. Now, some people are gonna just say that they are not important, it's only about the band, but once you get to Steelfest, you're gonna know it's a lot of friendly gathering from various parts of the world, various parts of political field or whatever. It's not like some people figured out it's going to be some kind of a underground festival for like-minded people marching around the streets. Those are probably people who had never been to real underground metal fests, so let those people just do the imagination, and while they are banging the keyboard at home, being angry and yelling some stupid comments, you will be here drinking booze, making possibly new friends, and enjoying some good shows by the bands. So, there is that. Haters gonna hate, and we enjoyers are gonna enjoy ourselves and the bands and the friends, etc. So, some names that I'm gonna pick. Well, one of my all-time favorites is Destroyer 666. Seen them multiple times, and I still think I cannot miss them. I hope that I got to interview them. No idea at this point which one I'm gonna get, but this is always a band that puts up a good show with a lot of good tracks and all that stuff. Now, obviously, Tolke is one of the biggest names at the festival. Not my favorite band out there. I mean, I like the guy a lot, Hest, but I've seen it quite a few times. It never clicked me the fullest, but I think it's there for a reason as one of the main bands. Definitely something that you don't want to miss in case you love Norwegian kind of a black metal. Inquisition is once again those bands that I really didn't like too much in the late 90s. Seeing them, and that was back in the days when the band was way more boring. Nowadays, I'm gonna change my mind because the modern albums by the band are so much more interesting. And Nocturnal Mortum has never been my cup of tea, but since this would be the first time, that is, if the war allows them to travel and all that stuff, this will be something that I want to see at least partially, because never seen the band on stage. Niflheim always put up a lot of chaos, so it's gonna be interesting to see them as well. Then going to the smaller bands here, smaller and smaller, but let's say not the main headlining acts or whatever. What I will be aiming to see would be bands like Akitsa. Never seen them live, Blasphemia from Colombia, Alpha from Sweden. This is probably one of the most least metal bands, most non-metallic bands I was gonna say, which is going to play, but they do some good music, which is flirting with metal, but then again having a lot to do with kind of a rock and roll music. Hard to put in one box, but you get the idea if you've been listening to them. That is something that I want to totally recommend. Seen Graveland a few years ago at Steelfest, and it was great. So definitely something that my eyes will be peeled for. Also want to see this special Beelzebub / Mystifier thing, because this is also something that might be once of a lifetime kind of a thing. Borgnet from Switzerland did pretty good an album not too long time ago. Never seen them live. Same goes for Infernal War. Never seen them live. So these are the kind of bands that are on my watch list. Obviously, if you're coming from Finland, you might just ignore some of the Finnish bands because you get to see them. But then again, if you come from outside Finland, maybe names like, I don't know, Satanic Warmaster and Horna and, you know, War Moon Lord, things like that might be the top tier. So obviously take it from my perspective. Living in Finland, seeing a lot of those Finnish bands, yeah, it's not like we're gonna miss those bands too often, even if we don't see them here. Dödsvanger has been doing some good music also, something that you don't get to see every day. So these kind of names are definitely for me. Also, this Makwahuidl from United States of America, you don't get to see these kind of bands every day. Might be smaller and lesser known ones, but definitely interesting ones. Then again, Commander Agares never played live as far as I could tell. At least never been possible for me to see. Gonna be interesting because, well, I'm not gonna actually say more than that. And then there will be some newer bands like The Mist from the Mountains, which just released a debut album not too many months ago, and a quite good one too, and including some of the veterans of the scene, so to speak. So there are lots of interesting bands from various parts of the world. And, like I said, some names are still to be announced. Now, if you take at this daily thing, this is something that you want to probably plan a little bit ahead, because you're obviously not going to see all of them. I mean, only a selected few individuals are able to do that. I'm not going to even try to do that. First of all, like I said, you need to have foods and drinks and do interviews and all that stuff, so I'm kind of bound to miss some of the names. So for me, seeing a band name like this one here, I'm just going to probably pick one and there, a couple of there, here and there, and just try to fit them in my interview schedule. For example, because I'm going to see bands like Destroyer 666, I'm probably going to skip Horna. Nothing personal. I mean, I love those guys and they do always a solid show. But because I get to see them so often, for me, this is the kind of stuff that if I can fit an interview, most likely doing so. If not, maybe then I will be seeing them on stage, I mean. And, you know, all these daily events are based such ways that you probably, if you want to see them all, you're going to be just running around back and forth between the different stages. Because once a band stops playing at one stage, another one going to be starting soon. So there is very, very little time for, you know, to take a piss and to eat and to hang out with your friends and all that stuff. Unless you're going to do it all just before the show. Maybe you're busy taking a hamburger, pissing at the same time, talking to your friends, yeah, Greenland really rocks my socks. What you got to figure out what I'm talking about. It's because of the hamburger, and I really need to take care of the bills and beer and all that stuff. You get the idea. Now, Sunday is a little bit different. As you can see, only a few bands. And there will be this Steel and Fire event starting early on, around 10 a.m., which might be too early for a lot of people who have been drinking way too late on Saturday. And then there will be Sunday Bacchanal at 2 p.m., which means you're going to be starving, even if you had breakfast like me. So it's going to be interesting how this all going to, you know, fold out. Now, some word about the tickets. They are maybe not yet sold out, because how the things usually go. People are buying slowly, figuring out what to do with flights and accommodation, and suddenly they're like, man, it's only 2 weeks away. And then the wheels really start rolling fast. So don't be one of those, you know, latecomers, so to speak, or otherwise you're gonna miss those 4 days tickets. The same goes for this Sunday Bacchanal, because I mean I was talking to the main head of the whole festival, and he was saying, yeah, they're not sold out yet. The thing here is, it's still like 2 months away, and some people are going to wait until the last minute and only to be disappointed because of that. That also applies to accommodation. I mean, early birds will always get the best whole rooms. Those that are nearby or for a sweet price and all that stuff. For example, me and my pals, we got our Airbnb last August. So I'm just saying, maybe it's good time to be awake early on. And now about the accommodation, I promised that I wouldn't be talking about too much about that. But in case you need to know, Booking.com, Hotels.com, Airbnb sites, those are the types of sites you will be using when figuring out if you're going to stay at a hotel or an apartment, etc. And it doesn't have to be in the city of Hyvinkää. There, for example, nearby cities have decent hotels, and they are only a few minutes train ride, like a commuting to the city of Hyvinkää. So don't be scared if you have to take another city with another hotel, and it seems like, okay, it's going to be another city. If I have to run with the taxi, I'm going to lose all my money because it's going to be so expensive. No, it's not. You can take the local train from nearby cities. I've done it a few times with Steelfest when I missed those good hotel rooms, not being early on. And also, it's even possible to come from Helsinki. That's going to be a longer train ride, but it's totally possible. So there are always possibilities for that. Now, hotel rooms are most likely already sold out for the Hyvinkää area, because like I said, the best rooms and the best hotels are always sold out fast. The ones that only take a couple of minutes to walk to the festival area. But don't be scared about that. Airbnb, still very much possible. And all those different cities, including Helsinki and Riihimäki and whatever, I mean, they are there. So be sure to check out the information. And obviously there is the camping possibility nearby the festival, and also there is this school accommodation possibility. It's a kind of a gymnastic class where you can just, sleep over your head and all that stuff. So there are plenty of possibilities for different kind of budget. First things first, obviously you need to have the festival ticket, and then you can pretty much figure out whether or not you need a flight ticket, and then you can pretty much figure out all the accommodation. But there are lots of possibilities, so it's not like you have to sleep outside just because you're a little bit late to the party. What else you need to know, you can always ask me. Basically all you need is a little bit of money. You need to have good spirits to enjoy the festival. And that's it. You can't be drunk, you can't be sober. Both ways are totally okay. And you don't have to socialize around the event. If you feel like you're this kind of a hermit, you want to see just the bands and not care about the people. But also, if you feel like you're one of those kind of a non-loners, you want to have with friends, but you're there alone. Well, there are plenty of people who are like-minded. Especially after a couple of beers, they will be mumbling some drunken Finnish-English combo to you because, hey, it's all like one big family, if you will. Maybe I'm romanticizing too much, but I mean, that's how I feel about these kind of festivals. Being there multiple times and never being alone because, well, there are lots of people who are much like you, listening to some good bands and having a good time. I don't know if there's anything else to really say about it. Now, this is all from me. This is all from Rauta to do the stuff. So, there it is. Enjoy the festival and see you there. If you spot me at the event, come to pull me by the sleeve and let's have beers.